What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a lot of belts. So I get a ton of questions about belts that I wear, whether it's for work or military style belts or law enforcement style belts, duty belts, battle belts, molly belts, all that stuff. Well, that's a different video. This is really about EDC stuff, the stuff that me and you would wear pretty much out there every day that's going to be comfortable and not like uber tactical molly style stuff. It's just not gonna fit normal everyday clothing. Now, I have tried a lot of belts in my lifetime, from my time in the military, my time in law enforcement, my time just as a private citizen, dress belts, all that good stuff. Everything from super tactical molly belts to straight up basic leather I bought it at a department store belt. So you could say I have tried hashtag lot of belt. Yeah, hashtag LOTTA belt. Now today specifically, we're gonna be breaking down a bunch of different ones that I have been sent over the years and a couple that I have purchased. Those are gonna be Core, 511, Klik, Nexbelt, Blue Alpha, Groove Belt, and I think maybe one other. I've got like a list here, but I don't wanna dig it up right now. So we're gonna kind of go over all of those, give you guys a really good look, kind of up close at them, so you can make a decision on which one maybe would work for you. There's definitely one that I kind of have in mind that I think works for the vast majority of people, without being like too overly heavy or kind of tactical looking. So that way, whether you're looking for just kind of a nice everyday belt or you can use this for everyday carry, really going to be up to you. Now, what I'm not gonna do is turn this into the tactical fashion show where I kind of, walk up and down or do little turns in a belt. If you wanna see me wearing the belts, there, I'm wearing all the belts. I don't really think any of you actually care what the belts look like on me. You just want the information of what style of belt they are, the quality level of them, and getting a good idea up close, side by side, of what they actually have to offer you. So with that being said, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, turn the bell notification icons on. Definitely give the video a like if you're into belts or anything else going on here. But we're gonna check out all of these belts right now. All right, that is a lot of belt on the table right there. But what we're gonna talk about first are these big, like industrial kitchen scissors here, the big choppers. So these are the ones you're gonna need, either this or like kind of like a really sharp utility knife to cut the like Nexbelt and the Core belt and everything to size them up, because that material is super thick. Let's go ahead and take these off and we're gonna go one by one here. And we're gonna start off with the Blue Alpha Cobra buckle belt right here. So if you don't know what a Cobra buckle is, it's that. It's basically kind of a parachute rig setup belt buckle style design here, where it basically just fits in with that section. It locks in by these two metal tabs that fold back on pivot joints. And it's extremely strong and can take a lot of brute force. This is the hybrid design, so it has the smaller attachment that'll fit through regular belt loops right there. But the actual belt material itself here is a double thick nylon that you can see right there that is very well stitched up and done all the way around. And the overall adjustment is done via Velcro right there. So again, not your kind of normal guy average belt, although I do have to say one of my absolute favorite belts. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be the 511 kind of hybrid-esque ish style of belt. So it has the massive Cobra buckle on this side and then the smaller one on this side. And then it's got a pull through tab right here, so you can put any kind of snap link or something on here for gloves or whatever. This is very much what I would actually kind of consider more of like a range style belt. It has like a built-in curve to it. You can kind of see right there that's supposed to kind of line up with your body's natural kind of hips and stuff. Honestly, it's a little bit thicker. So this is like the 1 3/4 inch, whereas the Blue Alpha was 1.5 inches. Not bad overall. The quality of it's good, but it just kind of falls by the wayside because that's just a lot of buckle right there. And even with it set up like this, it's tough to get through a standard belt loop just because of how this is all designed in here. Overall, not a bad belt. I do know people that wear these. It's just a lot of belt. Let's go ahead and talk about the Klik belt right here, which has a more kind of, I guess you would say, normal styled Cobra buckle on it right there. It's the normal size, so it's not the hybrid version where it's small. That is your standard sized Cobra buckle, and the nylon is the same pretty much as the Blue Alpha. So you do have that double thick nylon that you can see right there. It's quite stiff, it is quite rigid. You do have an attachment here for your loose leading end, and there is no Velcro, so you've just got a floppy. Yeah, it's just gonna flop around like that. And if you wanna cut this, you kind of just melt it like this, which is kind of what they do on the end, but eventually this stuff kind of frays. Not a bad belt overall, just a couple of small things. Is one is like the way it's kind of, that edge right there that's kind of just unkempt. You know, it's just kind of like, we're gonna fold this over, melt it, and then put like, you know, a couple of stitches in it. They're already kind of coming out. So you can see right there, you can see some of the stitches that are already popping through. So not the best thing. And I've only had this one for I want to say like I don't know, a couple of months, maybe month or two. So it's kind of having a couple of issues, not the best setup. Well, let's move into what's actually been kind of a nice belt. As you can see, that little magnetic buckle right there kind of flops in there on the Groove Life belt. I gotta say, I really like this belt. And the reason I really like this belt is because it gives you a little bit of stretch. The buckle is just super slick. I mean, look how thin that thing is just overall. Super slick, super smooth. The teeth in there that just dig in on that magnet. It's nice. The leading edge goes behind, so you don't have to worry about it kind of flopping out to the front unless, I don't know, unless you want your belt flopping out to the front. It's a good overall design. The problem is though, it is a little bit rigid, okay? But depending on what you are carrying out there, especially if you're carrying like an out of the waistband holster or something, it's not gonna hold up. So if you're carrying something super small, like a subcompact or a slimline or a micro compact, this is a great belt for that. But it does give way and start to fold over time once you start carrying heavier things on the belt itself. Let's go ahead and bring in our first ratchet style belt here. Now these are actually really cool, and they've been gaining a ton of popularity. These ratchet style belts, there's several companies making them now. Let's talk about this one from Nexbelt here. So you can see it is that kind of, you know, not too crazy tactical looking nylon. Got a little faux leather kind of end on it right here. And what you do with these is you cut this end right here to fit your waist, give yourself an extra inch or two. You know, easier to cut, you know, measure twice, cut once, or cut once long, and then if you need to shorten it, you can always shorten it, but you can't add material, so keep that in mind. Now, if you're going to carry an in the waistband holster or something, you need to add like 4 to 5 inches. What it does is this has like kind of an infinite track system right here, and I want to say this one came for like waist sizes up to 67. So, you know, if you're driving a John Deere tractor and you're 67 inches in the waist, this is the one for you. So it does have a release tab right there that you push down on, or pull up on, excuse me, and it releases that, and then you pull this out. The one thing I will say about this belt, there was a problem with that right out of the box. Like a piece of metal, I guess it wasn't machined all the way off, was stuck down in there, and it was actually stuck. But overall, not a bad design. It's pretty clean. The material itself is pretty solid depending on what portion of the belt you're on. So around the actual ratchet stuff, it's very loose. You can fold it over with almost no effort right there. It just folds right in half, which kind of begs to wonder if it's going to start giving way in here at some point. I've only had it a couple, like 2 months maybe or something like that. Not a bad belt overall. A couple little things with it here and there. Just make sure when you are doing this, use some really solid scissors to cut that to size it right, and cut long. Let's bring in the core belt. So the core belt is the same kind of ratchet style design. You do have several different versions of this, like the Nexbelt. You get a bunch of different buckles, just like the Nexbelt, you can choose from. And instead of that little buckle that's kind of attached to the side, you actually have a little kind of swing arm right there that you can see. Give you a good look at that right there. And once you depress that, the belt pulls right out like this. So again, an infinitely adjustable setup in there, but they have their own, I guess, patented kind of material, whatever they call it. What is this stuff? So power core technology or whatever is what it is. So it is extremely stiff. Even around the portion where the ratchet system is right here, you can see that it will take a lot of pressure on there. Same kind of thing. You measure this, measure twice, and cut once, or cut long, make sure it fits. If you carry inside the waistband, you need to add approximately 4 inches is what they say. And it's the same thing. You put it in here, you close the tooth arm right here, and then you screw in your Allen heads right there, and it is locked in. This one does come with a little attachment to keep the leading end of the belt right here locked in like that. So if you're in between a belt loop or something, you have that on there to go ahead and capture that belt. There are a bunch of different styles. You can get leather. I've actually got a leather one. You can get the nylon ones, or you can get other kind of tactical-ish looking ones from Core. All right, so now that you've kind of had a good chance to see all of these things up close, let's go ahead and talk about, let's talk about the cost of these things really quick. So the Core Essentials belt, I wrote all this down, is going to be right at the, what is it, $59. The 511 belt was like $89. That's way overpriced for that belt. The Klik belt was $79, the Nexbelt's $59, and then the Groove belt, that stretchy thin one, is $59, and the Blue Alpha is $69. Well, let's go ahead and talk about, I guess, kind of what people these belt would fit style-wise. Now that's a lot of belt, and just think, I've probably got like a dozen more either in the closet or in some containers in the garage or in the attic or something. These are just the most recent ones and the ones that seem to be more popular. And like I said, almost all these have been sent in over the past couple of years or recently to do evaluations on or testing on, except for the Blue Alpha. That one I did purchase. I've purchased a couple of those. I've purchased some Core belts before, and I have purchased multiple different 511 belts before. Now this is the part that is very subjective because it is my opinion. We're going to start kind of eliminating a couple of these belts. First one to go is the 511 one. And the reason being, the massive buckle on this, even though it's got the smaller buckle on this side, it's got this weird kind of pre-bent shape into it, I guess, to format to your waist and everything. It's just, it's big, it's wide, it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing out there, and I don't think most people are gonna run around wearing that belt day in and day out. Now the next belt on its way out is going to be the Klik belt. Now it does have the smaller Cobra buckles. Overall, the material seems fairly good quality, but there's something going on with the buckle right here. You can kind of see that it gets like stuck right there. It's on both sides unless you really just jam the buckle back into itself. It has something to do with the back edge of the actual Cobra end right here that inserts. It just gets stuck up in there, so that's definitely a downer for the Klik belt. Then the next one getting thrown into the carpet here is going to be the Groove Life belt. Now I actually do quite like what they have done here with this belt. It's carryable, but only for light carry, light EDC. So if you tried to wear this for an out of the waistband belt or something, it's gonna give a little bit. So it's not gonna be like a true maybe EDC belt, although that stretchy material is nice. Very thin, very malleable, got good stuff going on, but it just doesn't hold up to some of the others that are left. Now the next one going out, and it breaks my heart a little bit to say this because it's my Blue Alpha Hybrid Cobra buckle belt. Now Blue Alpha was one of the first, I think they were the first company actually that came out with the hybrid size smaller buckle here, so you could actually wear it with normal pants. Now I love this belt, I wear it a lot, but it's a Cobra buckle style belt. Most people just don't want to wear these style of belts. It's kind of very specific. Now I love it, and I know a lot of my friends love it, but when I show these things to a normal person, they just kind of look at it like, that's a belt. And so for that reason, this is why the Blue Alpha, even though I love it, is going by the wayside. Now being that we're down to the final two, I guess you could say the first runner up in the Belt Beauty Queen contest is going to be the Nexbelt. The reason when this one is going out, there's two things. One, I always have issues with the little buckle thing here, the little movable section right there. It was actually jammed when I initially got it, and it wouldn't actually move. You can still kind of hear it, like it'll click a little bit sometimes. There was just something stuck in there. I think it was just some extra material left over from the machining process. The other thing is that it's just pretty bendable. It's pretty pliable right here, very easily bent like that. You can kind of see, kind of bends right like that. Not a whole lot of pressure there. Not bad, but definitely more flexible. So that leaves us with the Core Essentials belt. So they're the same style of belt. They do have that infinitely adjustable ratchet system in them, which is that right there, which you guys saw up close. The material on the Core belt is just a little bit thicker. It's definitely more solid. It was definitely more difficult to cut. And the usage here for the infinite adjustment system, it's that little lever, so it's a lot easier to get to. Now, I've had several different Core Essentials belts over the past several years, and this is the newest one that I had, the little X5 version, and I do wear it quite a bit. The other X5 that I had, I cut it a little bit small, so I gave it to a buddy of mine and he's been wearing it for probably the past year or so. As for those top two Go, those both have multiple different buckles that you can interchange or buy. It's just those two little set screws in the back. At the end of the day, it was very, very close, but what it came down to was a little bit of that rigidity for the belt, how the actual infinite mechanism worked, and just that overall kind of initial quality. But like I said, there was a little bit of an issue with that Nexbelt up front. And then the other ones, they were just way behind, I guess you could say, in what is like belt technology these days. That ratcheting system or that infinite adjustability that locks in place just seems to be extremely popular, and it actually is quite comfortable out there because you get that ease of adjustment right after eating that big meal. Well, that is what I have for you all today. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about all the belts. Like I said, once I remove myself and my likes out of it, I think those ratchet style belts are really where it is at for more people than just those of us that like those cool Cobra buckles, because that's a very different style and a very different look. And Core just had the most to offer when it came from that system, as far as the rigidity, the ratchet system, ease of use, all that good stuff that you are looking for. If you guys are interested in any of that stuff, I will leave the links for them all down below and you can make your own decision on them. You guys get out there and have some fun, and I will see you guys on the next one.